It was a really difficult time to become governor. But you are right that that type of crisis presents opportunities because everyone knows that, we have limited choices now. All the gimmicks have been played. All the games have been played in New Jersey. I mean, we had bonded our tobacco money. We had borrowed for ongoing spending. Every trick in the book that could be played, extended debt from 20 years to 30 years to balloon payments from just every game. So now you were left. There were no games left in the playbook to use. So you had to actually make difficult choices. The sustainability of those is, I think, the possibility of the sustainability is embodied in that right direction number I told you. Like what the special interest will attempt to do when you make those tough choices to say, this is the end of the world as we know it. He's throwing grandma off the cliff. Your children are not going to be able to learn. You will not be able to get into a hospital. The roads will be caving in. The bridges will be collapsing. And there's commercials for all this, 30-second ads for all this stuff. What they've seen in New Jersey now over the last 2.5 years is sun still's coming up every morning. Their kids are still going to school. Test scores are still pretty good in a lot of the school districts. Our roads could be better, but they're not awful. Our bridges are being repaired. We're doing the things that government essentially needs to do. And we're doing it with less employees than we've done it with since 2001. We've amended the pension and benefit program, and, no one's visibly suffering from that. Would people like to have more money? Sure they would. But I can't justify any longer to the union carpenter who's been out of work for 2 years and he's trying to keep his house. His property taxes continue to go up because I'm paying for 5% raises for teachers. I can't justify it anymore. And guess what? Neither can the union carpenter. And so the divide you see in our country, in one respect, is the divide between the private sector union movement and the public sector union movement. And the private sector union movement, which is dependent upon a vibrant private sector economy to put their people back to work, during a downtime like this is saying to themselves, well, how can my people survive? And how come when our pensions go down, we have to put more money in, but the public sector workers don't? How come when my health care costs go up, I have to put more money in, but the public sector workers don't pay anything? This is an issue of fundamental fairness. And so I think what you're seeing is the sustainability of these changes lie in their common sense and fairness. That doesn't mean they're not hard. And it doesn't mean they're not painful, because they are. But they're also fair and they make sense. And so people are willing to accept that in the context of shared sacrifice. And so in New Jersey, we have an extraordinarily progressive income tax code, where the top 1% in New Jersey pays 41% of the income tax. So it's not like, people are saying, well, geez, people are getting away with something. When the top 1% pays 41% of your income tax, there's shared sacrifice there too. So we're trying to spread that across the entire spectrum. I think that's where you get sustainability. The last piece to getting sustainability is the last piece I talked about and used the example of my mom. You have to talk honestly to people about it. You can't say to them, don't worry, this isn't going to hurt, it'll be fine. You have to look at them and say, this is going to stink. It's going to hurt. We're all going to hurt. We're going to hurt together. But in the end, we're going to have a better day at the end of it. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but it's going to get there. And I think that's the other thing that sustains it, is a candor with people where you're not trying to protect your own rear end all the time in elected office. We have too many elected officials who are obsessed with re-election, and that they're willing to do anything to keep their job. That's not the kind of person you want in an executive position, or any position for that matter, but certainly in an executive position right now, given the challenges that our country faces. Beware of the person who'll do anything to get reelected, because that means they'll do anything to get reelected. And it won't matter. It won't matter what the long term is. I had somebody tell me, when I was talking about these pension changes, he said, why do you want to do this? This is a friend. And I said, well, because the pension system is going to go bankrupt by 2018. And he said, Chris, If you're elected to 2 terms, you're out in 2017. Let the next guy deal with it. That's the mentality that has creeped into political consulting and the politics of it. Well, if it's not going to blow up on my watch, let it go. Only deal with the things that are absolutely going to blow up on my watch. And that's what's gotten us to this spot. And the next explosion that's coming is going to be an explosion that's going to be difficult to contain on the federal level if we don't deal with these issues. You know, it's going to be, you know, people say Europe, look at Europe. Forget Europe. Europe is going to be a picnic compared to what will happen here. Because the entire world depends upon this economy. We start going in that direction, then the ramifications for the entire world are going to be graver than anything we're seeing in Europe right now, in my view. So the sustainability is to say that to people, and to say it from behind podiums like this. To look at people and say, you know, hey, guess what, Social Security? We're going to have to raise the retirement age. You know, listen, like I said, I was at AEI a year or so ago. I said, listen, I just said Social Security retirement age is going to have to be raised, and I haven't been vaporized into the carpeting. I'm still here. You know, we need to be honest about these things. We need to look at wealthy people and say, you know, some of these benefits need to be means tested. I know you paid into them for years. I know you're entitled to them. Guess what? We can't afford it. Sorry. You got screwed. Way to go. You know, it happens. I mean, you have to say this stuff to people. And if you're unwilling to say it, in my view, you're not worthy of having the position. And you certainly can't call yourself a leader. You know, a leader is not just somebody who is, you know, whistling a happy tune at the front of the parade. Sometimes that's part of your job. But the grunt work is part of your job, too. And you got to sustain the reforms that you're putting in place, you have to sell them to people in a way that they can believe and becomes a part of who they are. Then they'll support you. And, you know, they kick you out of office, they kick you out of office. I mean, it seems to me it's not the end of the world. But for some people, maybe it is. But we should keep those people out of office. So that was a long answer. I'm sorry about that.